What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Valynt Volumes. This is your host and CEO Dan Spottsville, and next to me I have
Makayla Mitchell, otherwise known as Mac. And today we have a special guest with us.
Yeah.
Say hello, Jagger.
Thanks for having me, guys. Being back. Jagger Luce here, tuning in with y'all.
Yeah, I didn't know how to intro you today, so
We're just rolling.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
It stands for Young Entrepreneurs Academy for Frisco.
That is true. That's still something on the to-do list.
It's true.
It?
It's true.
Well, Jagger, thanks for joining us today. I thought a good way to start off today's episode would be talking about some of the new clients that you guys have brought on, or just some of the new projects that you've been talking to specifically.
Yeah.
So,
very interesting set of clients that have been coming on. A couple that stick out. One particularly, a group by the name of Spirits Capital, and they're pushing out basically an investment deed offering into whiskey barrels. So it's a completely alternative strategy to investing into whiskey barrels that provides, one, a lot of security as it's directly asset backed for all of their investments, and two, provides a lot of liquidity for their investments, which is really cool as well. It's just a very unique structuring. So Spirits Capital, it sounds like a whiskey company, but they're actually an investment management company. They themselves do not handle any whiskey, any barrels at all, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, let me pause you there though. So I'll give you some insight on like how the campaign's running, because I think the campaign's been running for a little bit over a week now.
okay.
So within a week they have don't quote me on these numbers. It's very close. It's like 90% accurate.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like 50 plus leads in the first week. Cost per lead is, ranging anywhere from like, $12 all the way to like 35, which is pretty low for like cost per lead for, a capital raise.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, because of our robust database, we're able to target, accredited investors that drink whiskey and, spirits and all of that. So it's all that said, the campaign's going well. I know the video view was like at 250,000 views in 1 week. So people are interested in their investment opportunity.
So, like, given that it's backed by whiskey barrels, that's what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you, when you were going to target different investors, did you find that was going to be like a challenging thing to do because it's a little bit of a different?
No, not at all.
proposition?
No, because I used some of the audiences we built for Casa Azul. That was like, that was a year ago. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was a tequila company.
Yeah.
FYI.
Yeah. So like I used that from a year ago, and then you can target whoever you want to with us. So
Yeah.
no, it's not a thing.
Any other new clients or leads?
Yeah, a group that we haven't started their campaign, but they'll be coming on this month. They are looking to build a sequence of golf courses. Basically, their idea is they're kind of already in the door with a lot of these very high-end kind of 5-star resort places, particularly and over kind of in the Mediterranean, like in Italy.
Fancy.
And so, but what's cool about it, like, golf courses being built, you put out a raise for 15, 30 million, whatever, you bring in the money, you build the golf course, and then you pay your investors back. That's kind of typical. But this group is a bit unique in the fact that each of their raises that they're doing are actually tokenized on the blockchain. So, for instance, this group right now, they're building a property in Tuscany as an add-on, or a golf course property in Tuscany as an add-on to this 5-star resort that's already there. And they need $15 million to finish it out. And obviously that's what we are going to help with, is generating investment leads for them, or investor leads for them. But they're selling 3,000 tokens at $5,000 a token.
Mm-hmm.
And so anybody in the world can invest into it. It's basically completely democratized. Typically, your average everyday individual that's not accredited or sophisticated wouldn't be able to be involved in a deal like this. But because it is on the blockchain, it all is completely immutable. It's all set in stone. It's all organized and taken care of.
Reg A offering?
It's actually Reg D. It's a Reg D. Yeah.
Okay. Reg D. Have they built golf courses before or no?
They have. They have 30 plus years of experience doing it. So they manage, I think, right at 35 golf courses across the world right now.
Damn.
So,
Wow.
And they're starting this whole program. They just put out the website yesterday. I was talking to their CEO, and they're basically starting this whole NFT rewards program in correlation to the tokens that they're offering.
Yeah.
And so basically the rewards program is you have this card, and depending on how many tokens you have on there, aka how much you've invested into their deals, it allows you to basically go play golf for free, go stay at one of their 30 plus courses or resorts for free.
That's awesome.
And just the fact that they're marrying the blockchain with building golf courses just fascinated me.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
I loved it. And then, of course, it being in Italy, it was like, oh, gosh, this is just,
I
this
want
is
to go
perfect.
there.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Yeah. We were about to. We were about to
know,
go
we
out
were-
there, but it's just not the prettiest time right now.
We were close to going. Let me ask you this follow-up question. So why did they decide to choose us? Like, did they tell you, like, why they decided to go with Valiant Digital? I mean, outside of you building a great relationship with them, was there like a deciding factor? Like, oh yeah, this is why we want to work with Valiant.
Yeah, so I mean, they've been in operation for 30 plus years. They've done dozens of deals where they've put out an offering, brought in investors from their own organic network that they have, but they realized that they kind of reached the end of the kind of end of the line there as far as their ability to bring in investors, and so they ended up getting connected to us, and it was just perfect. They were looking for investors, and we're able to hand investors to these groups kind of on a silver platter.
Got it. Did they come through our ad funnel, or did they come through like a referral?
They came as trying to think. They came as a referral. From a securities firm, a group in Arizona. I was actually talking to you about them the other day, but they do all of the filing paperwork. So they file with the SEC. They get you set up with the SEC. They help with your compliance, that type of stuff.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
he knew Doug as a CEO over there at that firm, or president technically, and he knew that they would be kind of perfect for us.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, like, I don't know these things, Mac, like, because I'm just out of the loop a little bit because I'm focused on other areas of Valiant right now. So, like, getting the website launched.
But you've finally seen it, right, Jagger?
I have seen it.
It looks cool.
I have seen it. I'm excited for it.
For sure, me too.
Speaking of new Valiant things, a big topic of conversation today is the new software that Valiant's providing. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to jump right into that?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So either one of you start off. I think just talk about what is it? What do we call it?
Yeah. Let me start it off here. So the software is called Luna. It's named after my dog.
Okay. Was it just because you didn't know what else to call it and Luna made sense, or was there?
It just sounds cool. I don't know.
I mean, I like it.
I mean,
it works.
Luna just sounds like it's a software. That's all.
Okay.
But it's just a dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a software now.
But we're selling the software, not the dog.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's
not
correct.
selling the dog.
You're keeping your dog.
I am.
Okay.
For
All
sure.
right.
Okay.
So that's it. So, like, in a nutshell, and Jag, I'll kind of let you touch on some of the details here. But what Luna is, like, it works for like every vertical that you can probably think of, right? Because what the software does, I'll share with you some of the capabilities of the software. So one, it does LinkedIn connections, like automated connections. The second thing is once it does the automated connection, it'll pull that person's email address. And then because it is backed by like AI tech, right? Like ChatGPT, I think is the buzzword that people would know.
Yeah.
It'll automatically scan that person's profile that the software connects with, and then send a very personalized message, to that individual on LinkedIn as well as via email. So that's one aspect of the software. The second aspect would be, so that's for outbound, right? That's for the outbound part of it. For the inbound part, let's say we're generating leads, investor leads for our clients. Once the lead comes in, what we used to do is set, different cadences for hey, text 1 goes out on day 1, then text 2 goes out on day 3. And instead of that, we'll be able to send one text message with telling the AI software hey, the goal is to schedule a Zoom call or get them scheduled on the Calendly. So they'll have a natural conversation via text with this potential investor or potential lead, insert whatever, right? Then there's also going to be a calling element to where once the lead comes in, it'll make an outbound call to do live transfers as well too.
Does it sound like a real person?
Yeah, it absolutely does sound like a real person. On top of that, where do I want to take this?
Well, I mean, what I wanted to insert next, maybe this will help you kind of figure out the trajectory, but Luna wasn't always where Valiant was going to go. That wasn't where Valiant started. So what's the story behind why Luna is now a perfect fit for what y'all are doing?
Yeah, I mean,
start?
high level, we just, always like use some sort of like automation software for our clients. So it's like, well, why not just provide something like from internally that we can provide, right? Like selfishly, I mean, it helps us grow our revenue. And then two, we have much more control over like how the software runs. So like all in all, it's just a plus for us to be able to run the software. And then also I'll let Jagger touch on like why it's good from his side of the things, like from the sales aspect, because without me getting into it too much, Jagger, there's companies out there that are looking to raise capital right now that just can't afford our traditional digital marketing services. So the software is going to allow them to have like an entry point with our agency to be able to still get in front of investors, but in a different way without the paid advertising part of it. That's why it's also attractive. The software also is going to have our data loaded into it. And then I forgot to mention this to you, Jagger. We're also going to attach AAI to the software and make it a bundle. Yeah. So people are going to use this shit so much. I just can't wait. But anyways, why don't you kind of share with us like from why it's important that we're launching this software this year?
It really is. And I feel like the best way to answer why it is important is to kind of point out my perspective of kind of the origin of it.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, Dan, but I remember kind of talking to you of like, hey, like we're high ticket, like we're charging a high dollar ticket amount for a marketing agency, but we know why we are. We know it's okay. We understand the results it produces. Yeah. But it doesn't change the fact that it's kind of this, like we talked about before, kind of the chicken and the egg situation. These companies are raising money, sometimes because they need money, and we're asking them to spend money with us in order to raise money, and some of them just can't pull it off. So I came to Dan and I was like, hey, like what can we find as a solution here? What can be a cheaper alternative that we can offer and give to these groups? Give it about maybe 30 days, if even. Dan comes back to me and he's like, hey, I had a brand new proprietary software built out that we own and is named after my dog, Luna. And I'm like, well, sweet. That's awesome. And honestly, at that point in time, we had implementations and software that was more beneficial to us than Luna at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
But just now, ChatGPT and AI got implemented into it. And that's what really kind of took it to the next level. And so, yeah, as far as why it's important, yes, it's beneficial to the groups that don't. They're a little bit more cash tight, and they need to be able to reach an audience of investors. That's going to be extremely beneficial. But that is definitely just one tiny niche that this software is applicable to. So it does send automated emails that are AI tailored, LinkedIn connection requests. You can even set up the funnel to be as intricate and detailed as connecting with them and then sending a message. And then if they accept the message, you can have it comment on their posts. You can have it like certain posts just to continue to stay engaged and nurture this potential lead, which is really cool. So it's beneficial because we're going to be able to bring in investors at a cheaper rate. And then that's more on the outbound side of things. And then what you already touched on as far as inbound, nurturing the leads that are already coming in. Yeah, it's going to be huge for as well. But I think it is definitely to be highlighted that it will work and can plug in well for companies that are raising money, but it can also work for real estate groups. It can work for a salesperson selling solar panels. It can work for all these different industries and niches, which is exciting. So.
Yeah, that's where I'm excited the most about too, like about the software is that, once we do a soft launch here for just capital raises and our internal clients and whatnot, probably just within I don't know how long this is going to take, but maybe like 30 days, 60 days. I just think we're just going to be busy with trying to launch things for capital raise for a good amount of time. That's my thought. And then once we do that, and if we build a team around this software, then we can launch into different niches, which is why like the people that we're looking to hire now is super important, that they have like certain backgrounds, because like right now we can't afford to bring in people that just doesn't have experience in what we're doing. We're just moving too fast for these people. You know what I mean?
So. Yeah. So since you're focused on capital raise first, do you have your top niches that you maybe want to focus on next, or is it still kind of depending on how it goes?
I think it's on Jagger. I think you have some ideas where you want to go with this. I'll let you kind of start.
It's really the best way to explain it without just saying every industry and every niche is the fact that every single business needs marketing and it needs sales. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And Luna would benefit any business or sales process. It doesn't matter if you're a donut shop. Like literally anybody, genuinely. I mean, your sister could use it for leads as to companies trying to or people wanting cake.
Can I pause you there real quick? Yeah. So the reason like it will work for like a bakery too is like for a bakery, right? When I was running paid advertising for my sister, I was targeting people that have birthdays within 30 days, right? So most bakeries, this software alone wouldn't be beneficial for them. Yes, it will in a certain extent, but the reason why it's so beneficial through why we're offering it is because I can pull the data of everybody that has birthdays every single day within a 5-10 mile radius of that bakery and insert that into the software. So like, for example, like it's January right now. So I can insert the data of people that have birthdays this week all the way to the, let's say, next 45 days within my sister's like 5 to 10 mile radius, and then start sending emails out, phone calls out, text messages out. So that's what makes it a lot valuable than other softwares out there, because we have data that we're going to personally insert into the campaign.
It is. And then that's, I mean, part of our entire foundation at Valiant Digital is built on our data access. That does need to be highlighted about the software. There's millions. Well, that's an exaggeration.
Well, I put on the new site 1 billion profiles, and I think I'm understating that number. So like if I looked at the data sources that we have access to, I mean, it's over 1 billion because I am inserting like worldwide. Like like we can target people in Japan, we can target people in Canada, of course the U.S. and then Europe and all of that. So we have access to all those different places. So like 1 billion like online profiles is probably like a little bit of an understatement.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
And that's our data is why we're able to execute on helping raise money so well, or helping connect our clients to investors, right? But I would say, to answer your question also, like as far as which niche or industry we might go to next, honestly, I think we would probably let the data tell us, right? Why we would start in capital raises, because we have millions of investors and detailed data on investors. But if we want to go to real estate, then we need real estate brokers and that type of data. If you want to do a bakery, you need that type of data.
Yeah.
So
can I add something else to it before I forget?
Of course.
So like we have what we call AAI, Advanced Audience Identifier. Look at all these acronyms. AAI. We gotta make Luna stand for something too. But anyways, so like imagine, I'm gonna go back to the bakery scenario. So like imagine they engage us, right? And then they start to use our software. And then on top of the software, what we're gonna put on there not only are we gonna insert the data of people that have birthdays around their bakery, we're also going to insert AAI. What AAI does, it will pick up the person's information that's coming to your site within like 2.5 to 3.5 seconds. So why is that very valuable? Because as you start to do paid advertising, or as you're starting to drive more traffic to your site, this software is going to pick up like that you went to this person's website with like a match rate of like 30 to 70%, upwards of 70%. So imagine 1,000 people come to your site and only 10% of the people purchase. Well, then what happens to all the other people that didn't purchase, right? We're able to extract their email, their first name, last name, and phone number, and then put them automatically into the software to start sending them like promos and all this. Like, so the AI is like very valuable when it comes to that stuff. And that works for capital raise. It works for finance, works for banks, real estate, med spas. I mean, you name it. Like you combine the two, it's a fucking killer.
So since you were able to like work with all those different types of industries, simply put, what is the overall problem that Luna is solving for clients?
Oh, that's a great question.
Outreach. It's solving outreach. It's solving the ability to get in touch with a finite target audience of individuals simultaneously, right?
Yeah. Without having to spend money on paid advertising.
Yep.
That's the big part too. Yeah.
Okay.
Like it definitely solves the outreach problem. So like if you're a business and you're like, man, I can't afford, $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 a month, or like $1 million a month, or we'll insert that number. You pay for this software, and then we'll start to give you website traffic. We'll start to give you traction. So it's an outreach process, but because you're not doing paid advertising, we're going to make sure that it's reaching out to exactly who you want to get in front of. And then we'll also help you identify who's coming to your site, and then retarget those people with the software.
Yeah.
We might as well just get in the software business.
I mean,
we are.
Yeah. We are. Well, so Luna can be a standalone service.
Sure.
How does it integrate with Valiant Digital's marketing if you were to do it together?
Yeah, I'll touch on that just high level, and if you'll fill in the gaps here. So in terms of what we're doing, like we do create a pretty well thought out like funnel already, and the pillars is based on paid advertising, right? So we're running ads on different social media platforms, the audience network, so like LinkedIn, Meta, native and display ads, you name it, we're running ads there. The software is there to help with the lead generation portion of it. So when the leads come in, there's follow-up processes, and we're taking that grunt work out of what the clients have to do. Because a lot of times when you start lead generation, the other challenge that starts to happen is that so many leads are coming in, and you don't have enough people to do the outreach for. And that's a problem that we're running into too. Like Jagger's, we're hiring people underneath Jagger because we're running into that problem. And then although we have the software, we don't want to increase our advertising spend until we get the right people in place. So that's one thing I think we solve. Jagger, I don't know if you want to insert anything else there.
Yeah. It's kind of Luna. It's a double-edged sword because it can be used for inbound leads and it can be used to generate leads. So kind of outbound. Mm-hmm. So kind of what you were explaining was taking care of those inbound leads. But I think we can have our paid advertising running here, and I think we can definitely be pushing outbound with Luna as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it would hurt anything, that's for sure.
Yeah, so the image that I have right now is like, I see like, let's just say you have Luna right here, and then you have like your inbound leads coming in here, and then you have your outbound leads going up, but then it all kind of cycles through, kind of like that, you know what I mean? Because Luna's also creating your, like when it does an outbound, it becomes a lead. And then when the lead comes in, then Luna's doing the thing. So like I do plan to build a funnel so like it's very visible to the person.
Absolutely.
Oh, like Luna does outbound and it handles the inbound.
Yeah.
And Luna does create the outbound leads while then when the leads come in, it can also handle that inbound lead flow and do the automation part of it. So it just solves their problems.
Are there any
at a very like low cost for everyone. Yeah. I hate to say the word everyone, but
it's true.
It just applies.
Like it actually is true. Mm-hmm. It's not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Are there any potential negative outcomes that you're like worried about or you're anticipating that could like happen?
Of course. Okay. Too many clients.
I was about to say the exact same thing. Too many clients. Yeah. Too many users.
I think for ourselves, right? Like I think the little bit, so we have our team kickoff meeting. We're like 2 weeks behind, but that's just how busy we've all been. But in our kickoff meeting, like there's a section that I'll talk about like Luna and what we need to anticipate on our side. We do have some blind spots as, for example, like if we get 50 people to sign up, I don't think we're ready to take on like just all 50 simultaneously. So that's why the soft launch is very important. So like we can understand the time frame it takes our back end team to kind of build all of this out, which we're working on. So I think I think that's the only. It's not even a negative. It's just a challenge that we need to overcome.
It's nothing we haven't dealt with before, though.
Yeah,
I mean we're dealing with that. We've been dealing with that over the past year. Sure. Bringing in clients and making sure back end team is there to take care of them, and we're executing in on it just fine.
Yeah, it's just that on this one, at the rate at which people are going to sign up is going to be more. Yeah. So like imagine like Jagger closing like 11 deals or something like that in the last 6 weeks. And these are all high ticket, right? So like imagine if it's like $500 a month or $1,000, which is like 1/10 of the cost or 1/20th of the cost, depending on the client, because there's no advertising spend. Mm-hmm. How many people will just jump on it and give it a try?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm a little bit afraid of. We're just going to get so many people signing up for the software.
Yeah. What I like about what Valiant does is, I mean, y'all, anything that you provide your clients, y'all do for yourselves, And that's so like, as you're learning with Luna, like you're going to be able to provide best practices for your clients as well. And so I think that's something that can also build confidence and like why working with Valiant is something that's beneficial,
No doubt. I mean, we've talked about it before, even like with our paid advertising that we're typically running, like we bring in those leads, close them out, right? Well, with Luna, it's cool with Luna because we'll be able to use Luna internally here to sell Luna, which is cool. Like we'll be sending out, hey, this is the software we're using. It's actually sent from this software. Like, check it out. Which
That's
is
so cool.
Because like it kind of sells itself, and I think we say that on the call right now. When Jagger gets on a call, well, they're like, "How do you know how to target investors?" Is a question that he'll get, and I used to get that, and our response is, "Well, you showed up to the Zoom. We knew you were raising capital. So like, you showed up. So this is the same thing that we do to get investors to show up."
Yeah, that was always a good feeling when I ran into that as well.
Yeah. So, no doubt.
It's like, gotcha. That's what I used to always do.
Yeah. Well, so since Luna's a proprietary software, like, is there anything else like this on the market? Like, do you have competitors that you know of, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm just gonna be like straight up. Like, we certainly have competitors out there, but there's not a lot of these softwares out there, like in every vertical. But the differentiator is this, right? So like let's say there's like 100 companies running the software. I would think we're the only like 5% of the people that are selling the software with the data inserted into the software. So like typically when you're using this type of software, you got to go and get the data, or you got to run paid advertising. So what we're saying is you don't have to use paid advertising, right? We're going to put the data of the people that you want to get in front of, like most recent data. So like if you run a yoga studio and you want to do this, I can go into the database and get all the people that are going to yoga studios in your area and that bought like yoga pants or like anything, insert yoga related, listens to a yoga podcast, visits a yoga related like website, you know what I mean? So like insert that, and we'll take that data and insert the data of like 50,000 people. Sometimes it might be 50,000, sometimes it might be 500,000 people that will insert into the data, but we'll only insert data that pertains to that particular business. And then you couple that with AAI, which is we're going to help you identify the people that's coming to your site. You see what I'm saying? Like we're giving you like it's a whole strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, as far as differentiating factor, yes, it is the data. But the cool perspective too is that the price points that we've talked about launching this Luna software at, and pushing it to the market at, the groups that are, for instance, if you're a company that's wanting to raise money, right? You can kind of start by going to buy investor data. Mm-hmm. If they went to go buy a small fraction of the data that we're giving them access to, they would be spending more on just buying the data and getting the Excel spreadsheets of data than actually buying our software that comes with all of the automations, all the bells and whistles, and the data. And so, the data is definitely the most important part.
I do want to add a little bit more context around that. So like, let's just say a capital raising company goes out there and is looking to buy 20,000, investor database. So like name, email, phone number of like 20,000 investors. Let's say that's going to cost them $5,000, right? Just as a working number. That $5,000, if you use that into Luna, you'll have several months of the automation running, and we'll insert like 100,000 known investors into the database. So that's the huge difference, right? Like and then they get to keep the data of the people that are coming to their site. So like you also get to build your own first party data. Like there's like I've thought this through, but like there's no reason they wouldn't at least give this software a 90-day. Well, I think 6 months is the trial period. Like you should try it for 6 months because you're gonna see results anyway, probably from like the first month that you're using.
Yesterday in an interview, you explained the how and why of your access to data in a way I hadn't heard you say it before.
What did I sound?
It was in our interview with the last guy last night, and you were talking about how like larger organizations may look at some data sharing agreements.
I
think that's a good point to add here.
So if people are wondering like why we have access to this data, when we're a small agency, like I'm always looking for the edge, right? Like where can we like have our edge as a small agency and as we grow? But the great thing that I did, and I'll pat myself on the back for this because I'll give myself kudos for this shit. But like the good thing that I did is I went there and accumulated data, because like all these big companies from 6 years ago, the people that were running the organization for the most part didn't understand that data is very important because they weren't running the actual ads. So when they weren't running the actual ads, they didn't realize how important the data is going to be like 6 years down. Well, fast forward 6 years, they didn't know that data was going to be so important. So I got that. It's like getting into Bitcoin. So like, it's like I got the data. If Bitcoin is the data, I got into it at $1. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't get into it anymore at this rate. Like I just got all the data. Like that's the backbone of Valiant Digital.
I heard
like to what Jagger said.
I heard you explain that last night in just a way I'd never heard it before, and I was like, oh, that even makes so much more sense as to like, why we have access to all the data.
Now. Because like the big companies, I mean, there's so many like digital marketing agencies or like traditional marketing companies that were doing hundreds of millions of dollars and still do, but they never, the guys at the top, I'm sure like the ad builder said, hey, we need more data. I'm sure they said that, but they're like, shut the hell up. Right? Like they just didn't go and buy it. And I'm still building ads, and I just understood 6 years ago, like, damn, if I can get my hands on this data, And then I got my hands on that. Then I went to another part, and I was like, oh, if I can get my hands on this data. And I just started to collect it all.
Yeah.
That's all I did.
So
it really does give us an edge that just can't be compared to other groups, right?
Yeah.
Like I like when you pointed out, like if you line up 100 different email automation and LinkedIn automation softwares, Luna is separated from all of those softwares, and I can point it out very easily because of our data.
Yeah.
Which is cool to be able to share, you know? Like most of the times if a potential client or a potential customer is like, okay, well, what's different about your marketing agency or what's different about your software?
Yeah.
Typically the salesperson starts moving into these kind of subjective and biased standpoints.
Yep.
And when you say, yeah, we have more data than anyone or our data is more robust, it's not biased, it's not subjective, it's just a fact. Like it's not an opinion, it's a fact.
Yeah.
And it resonates well, as it should, with potential clients and customers, you know?
Yeah.
So thanks for doing that.
For sure. You're welcome.
So,
but like, let me just be real. Like, I didn't think like 6 years down the road, we were gonna launch a software.
right.
You know, that's not why I got it. Like, I spent a lot of my money grabbing this data because I just wanted an edge when I was building the ads. That was the whole purpose of buying the data. The purpose wasn't to launch a software 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Well,
Just to be like straight up. You know
it's
what I
like
mean?
the saying, opportunity favors preparedness.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
think that's a
Like,
great thing. Yeah.
You wouldn't have had the opportunity if you hadn't been doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So since Luna's been kind of like in the works for a while now and it's launched, do you have a pipeline of people that you're like circling back to that couldn't afford our services then?
Yeah. Everybody that I've talked to that doesn't have funding for our full service kind of digital marketing campaign packages, I have them all marked, so I'll reach out to them. There's a good chunk of them, honestly.
Yeah.
And then I also have a list of people that I've mentioned Luna to as we've been building it out internally, and they've specifically requested to be contacted when Luna launches, which is cool too.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
Yeah, that's good.
definitely.
Yeah,
have
I
a
know
list
we're
of
all
people
excited.
to
We're
send
just
to.
waiting for it. It's like the website. Like we've just been waiting for like for
Yeah.
months, and I think we've been waiting for Luna like around the same time.
Yeah.
So it's just things just take longer than what we like the pace at which we launch things sometimes is deferred because of like variables that we just can't control sometimes.
And you're a pretty fast-paced person. So
I would like to think.
They're just busy.
Yeah.
It's good issues to have. You know what I mean? Kind of like
Yeah.
biggest issue we're worried about with Luna is having too many clients. Like,
That is.
it's the best issue
yeah.
you can have.
I think we're all on the same page. I really think it's gonna happen that way. Though.
I don't want to
people
jinx it. Yeah, but yeah.
So on the opposite side of the coin, like how are y'all measuring success with Luna?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's different areas of angles that we're measuring success. One, from my agency side, is like, how many people are we signing up? Like sales always matters, right? Because it's a business at the end of the day. So that's one way that we measure success. But then from the client side, which is more important, is that, is it giving them the return that we say that it's going to give them? I know it's better than what they're using now. If they're using software now, this is much better, and they should change, But then if they're not using software, we're giving people that are looking to raise capital and other businesses an edge to be able to grow their business with only spending like $500 a month or $1,000 a month, because $500 or $1,000 a month on digital advertising will only get you so many leads and only in front of so many people.
Yeah.
This solution that we're offering to every vertical that you can think of, and we'll pick those verticals as we see the data, like Jagger said, is going to give these small businesses even an edge. So like they'll be able to get in front of the people that they couldn't get in front of when they couldn't afford it before. So like this year, like if your budget was $1,000, you can't engage us because our monthly fees like thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? You can't even engage us. Like it's not a bad thing. We're just past that. Like when I used to charge $300, sure, like I would have taken your $1,000 and create your videos, write the copy, build like whatever. But we're just past that, right?
Right.
So like now, like if you are just starting off, even in capital raise as a solopreneur, you can come to us and we will have a solution for you. That's what it's for. It's to open it up to the masses.
Yep.
So I think that's the value that we're trying to bring. And that's what success looks like for me, is that with this software, we can verify that, hey, these small businesses are growing their business. The bakery is seeing an influx of 20% in, like people coming in to build a custom cake, that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think? What's your thoughts?
I completely agree with you, honestly. It's going to be exciting to watch it kind of tentacle out and see where it takes us to.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. We can just it can just fit into a lot more places, and it's applicable to many more people, right? Like, for example, you don't need for our digital marketing services, our full service, it's really more of a kind of a massive real estate syndicate that's raising $60 million at a time that's going to be able to afford us, or a big broker dealer that would be able to engage us. Whereas with Luna, the brokers, the individual brokers, the investment bankers would be able to afford Luna out of their salary
on their own.
Certain real estate brokers individually would be able to pay for us, or pay for Luna, right? And so that I'm excited about.
Yeah, so like imagine like franchises, right? A lot of franchise owners, like I know this about the franchise industry, they're responsible for paying for their own marketing fees, right? Yep. So like if you can't pay for like big billboards, because I don't know why franchises still like to use billboards and like traditional marketing, that's a whole nother conversation.
Luna's cheaper. Luna's cheaper than a billboard.
Luna will get you more customers in front of the exact person or the right demographic of people for $500 a month, right? I'm throwing $500 just as just a number. So like when you see this, like don't quote me like, oh, I thought it was $500. Like it just depends on what we're putting in there, because we're also putting our data in. So like we got to figure that part out. But it is going to range like around that price range, you know, like it's very affordable
initially.
Initially. And honestly, dude, like I'm okay to like keep it around that. Like, you know, like I
mean, that is kind of the thesis of it, is for it to be affordable.
Yeah. You know? And like so much value is being added. Because imagine like if you're spending $500 and the data's already in there, and then you get in front of your right customers and you close thousands of dollars and tens and thousands.
Yeah.
You're like certain industries, like if you're in capital raise and let's say you spend $1,000 a month on this software and you close one $50K or $100K deal, I mean, think about it. It's 50x on your spend. So
for the listeners who have yet to engage with Valiant, big or small, what is the best way to learn about Luna?
Yeah, obviously you want to go to our site, valiantdigital.com. But then I'll swing it to Jagger, and you know, Jagger, if you want to plug yourself in.
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn is a good spot to find me. Jagger Luce on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me on my phone number, 469-386-8874.
We giving out digits
Email,
now?
Yeah, reach out to me. My team and I will take care of you. We're happy to talk to you about pretty much anything you're looking to get accomplished, but especially in the capital raise niche. So
for sure.
Well, that's exciting stuff. Is there anything else you want to add about Luna before we close it out?
No, I think we got a lot out today.
If you haven't seen Luna online, you'll see it soon.
Yeah.
Maybe you're talking to Luna next time you reach out to us. Well, I think that's a really great way to end today's conversation. For those Valiantpreneurs who are also interested in actually being on the podcast, you can email us at hello@valiantdigital.com for a chance to showcase your business here, have a conversation about being an entrepreneur, digital marketing. And
you know what? Hey, if you decide to opt into Luna here, I just thought about, to hello@valiantdigital.com, we'll let you try Luna for free.
Oh,
dang.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll let you try it for free.
And on that note,
so if you want to try it and be on the podcast and talk about your business, we'll tell you like how Luna can apply to your business. I think that's a great way for people to test it out and bring them through here. What do you think?
I like it. I'll email hello@valiantdigital. I'm going
with all right. Well, thank you for listening, and tune in for the next episode. Peace.